Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. I gave myself some lighting here. But today is Monday, June 9th, but last night was the first episode of The Chosen Season 5, Episode 1. I'm going to talk about it, spoilers ahead. We're going to just dig into it, get my thoughts on it. Yeah, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to say this before I start. This is going to be an intense season. This season and next season. Because, oh man, it's getting intense. Like, last season, there was a lot of parts where I was like, this season, a whole lot more happened. Like, more times than any in episode 1. But we start this off with Jesus talking to the disciples about how they will not see him, then they will see him, then they will not see him. Which I think was him saying he will be killed, he will be resurrected, then he will be ascended into heaven. Not see him, not see him. And then he says that I watched the first few minutes last night, so like it's kind of, I remember it, but I don't remember exactly what he said. I think and I believe he said something about you will go and you will preach and you will have I don't know. I think preaching was in there, but it is the Last Supper right there. And guess who's not there? Judas. There's not much of Judas this episode. There most definitely will be, because this is like his final descent. Like Judas season 3 up to here. Season 4 dipped down kind of even. Season 5. Season 6. Season 7. Yeah. So, he's just talking to them, and Andrew starts singing a song, and it just, I don't know. Andrew started singing a song, everybody sang along, and Jesus kind of was sitting there with a blank face, like just kind of staring off into space, you know? Anyway, it cuts to the intro music, I believe. I think it cuts to the intro music. Then we go to 4 days later, so this was obviously Thursday. So now we've gone Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, which is technically 5. It's technically 5, but we're not counting Sunday as a day since we're already in it. Now, if you remember from last season, the show ended with Jesus getting on the donkey and getting ready to go to Jerusalem. He was not leaving he was leaving and they were walking. So it cuts after the intro music to him behind a tree, kind of walking over with all the disciples, and 3 Pharisees stop him. It's the ones that are always with Yusuf, because he was there too. I don't remember their names, or if they ever said it. But one of them says, not Yusuf, I will specifically say Yusuf. One of them says, you have to stop now. This is for your safety and your life. And the disciples all laugh, and Jesus doesn't do anything. He's just listening, you know. And he goes I don't know what it is. The face when you're like, okay, yeah, alright, whatever. Like that attitude, but not showing it. Not angry attitude. I don't know. And so the other one says that once they see the donkey, or they said if they see you, all their beliefs will come true. And that's when Jesus does that. Because all of their beliefs will come true. This is Messiah. This is Christ. And Judas goes off because in Judas's mind, from what the show's been leading up to, Judas thinks that we're going to Jerusalem, we're going to gather people, we're going to head out and go straight to Rome. And we're going to overthrow him because Judas does not see things how they should be. And so he's not seeing this as anything else. And he won't see it. So, and that wasn't like a foreshadow of the later episode. And that's not even a spoiler because it happened in real life. You're Christian, you know about it. And so the back to the other Pharisee, he says, and just wait until they see the donkey. I don't know if I brought that up because if you don't know, maybe you're just like, I don't know, clicking into this. First of all, hi, go to church. It'll save your life. But in the Old Testament, the prophecy was that the Messiah, the Christ, would come riding on a donkey that was never saddled by anyone. Now, back then, they called it ASS, not donkey. But I'm not going to say that, because even though that's a terminology that I did use, and I did say, just not going to say that. So, that a man that has already been considered of the Messiah riding on a donkey into Jerusalem, like the prophecy. This guy's gotta be Messiah, right? So they walk in, everybody's singing Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David, Hosanna, Hosanna, and even the disciples are in, and they're all excited. I mean, I would be too if I was there. Like, oh yeah, Hosanna. I don't know what else I was gonna say. I had a whole thing planned in my mind before I even said it. Now, they're all really excited, and Jesus sees the wall, and it kind of turns into blood. Like, it was 3 strips of blood, and like all across the top of the brick, then the blood. And he just stops there. The donkey's moving, and he just stops. And it muffles every other noise, and it's just Jesus, where he's going. He wasn't doing the hand things, but where he's kind of having a little bit of a panic attack. And I like that The Chosen did this. Now, I'm not that knowledged in the Bible. I've never read it through. That just scared the ever-living life out of me. Holy cow. Oh my Jesus. The reason it cut there was I had a timer on because I was waking up, and I decided to... Oh my Jesus. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh my goodness. Whew. Mini pain, mini heart attack, alright? What was I talking about? Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So, and I like that The Chosen did this, because I don't know if it was in the Bible at all. I haven't read through all the Gospels. I know about the Gospels through The Chosen. You can see me shaking in the camera. That's crazy. But The Chosen has helped me in my faith. And so, you know, I haven't read everything because, you know, I used to think that, you know, it's kind of boring to go to church. Like, I'm just doing the same thing for hours. My mindset has changed. But that's how I was until I saw The Chosen. And I've grown up with Christian all my life. Christian family all my life. But, And I like that they did this, because even if it was in the Bible, this helps you visualize. This is why I love The Chosen so much, because you visualize things so well. And for me, who reading just not a thing, I'd rather see the movie because I would remember it more. So I like it. And you can kind of see the flesh side of Jesus, because he's 100% man, 100% God. And you can see it like taking over, just for a little bit. And he's just like, I don't want to do this. If I walk any further, I will die in the next few days. I will die. And now Mary, Jesus' mother, um, they're both looking at him like, you okay? Because he just stops. He's walking and then he just stops. And Mary, the mother, puts her hand on his, like, is either his leg or his rib. And it's just like, it broke a trance. And Jesus just went. And Mary kind of steps back. Both of them kind of step back. Because it was just like such an aggressive look. Because I'm sure that the flesh was just like, don't talk to me. No, Jesus wasn't mad, but he's just like, don't talk to me. I don't want to do this. And so anyway, that goes away. They walk into Jerusalem. Then, it cuts to, well, it doesn't really cut, but it shows that one spy, the one Artemis. No, I don't think it's Artemis. Oh, come on. I don't know. The one that's, I don't know. Atticus. Oh my goodness, it's Atticus. So Atticus is cut through the crowd, and he's watching as Jesus comes in. And there's a man up on a roof, or not on a roof, but like in a balcony, kind of in the same clothing, where it's dark, mysterious, keep eyes away. And so he looks at that and he walks away. Then I believe it goes to, okay, I might get this wrong, okay? But I think it goes to Jesus getting off the donkey and going to preach. No. Okay, I think I got it right. So after it cuts from Atticus and watching Jesus move in, or come in, I don't know why I said move in, it cuts to Pilate and Atticus. Well, Atticus is in the room, then Pilate comes. Or no, Pilate is looking at the balcony, and then Atticus comes in the room. Now, I love Pilate. Hold on. I love Pilate in the show because he's like, he's one of the best characters. I'm gonna be honest. Or not. Can I say characters? Real life human. Because it's just so funny. Like all of his comeback lines, they're amazing. They're absolutely perfection. And so he gets seafood come in, and then what's his name? Caiaphas, yes, Caiaphas. He gets Caiaphas closing, and Atticus and him talk. Atticus is mostly saying that, are you getting a quarter of your year's salary? And Pilate says cheekingly, like a cocky look, yes, maybe even more. And then his wife, who, let's remember, I think it was season 3. Yeah, it was season 3, I'm pretty sure. She had a vision of them in the garden sleep. The disciple, no, not the disciple, because they weren't all there. Were they all there? See, I don't know. But I think it was where in the vision it was night and a snake was crawling, passing all the disciples, not caring, and then going to Jesus, almost biting him, and then he grabs it and kills it. And so she has told Pilate many times, and she did actually say this in the Gospels, don't mess with Jesus. Now she didn't mean that because she didn't like him. She knew something that she didn't really know herself. She knew something, but she didn't know it at the same time. And so she comes in and says, I don't like the smell of seafood. Sees Atticus there, grabs a blanket, wraps it around. Although I didn't think she was revealing. Unless that's just what you did back in the day. You know, back in the day, 2,000 years ago. Anyway, then it cuts to Jesus preaching. And no, it doesn't. Don't listen to me. Now he gets off the donkey. And then it's Peter and Andrew talking. And they say that, well, Peter says that he thinks he's going to preach. Actually, he knows he's going to preach. And so then everybody comes over and says, again, I don't know everything word for word, but essentially they're talking about the safety of Jesus and how the Pharisees said, for if you don't turn back now, you will die. And I don't know if the Pharisee was talking about how the Pharisees and Sadducees were wanting to kill Jesus, or if he was just saying this like as if an angry mob came and killed him. I don't know. I would like to assume that it was just because the Sadducees and the Pharisees were talking about killing him. But we'll see. We'll see as the season goes on. Okay, so he's preaching. We see Jesse and the woman who bled. I don't know her name, so that's how I will refer to her until I remember it or I look it up. So not this video. And so he's preaching, and I love that The Chosen does it. I don't know if it was in the gospel, but as he's preaching, okay, see, this is why I love it, because this probably did happen. Now, whether it was recorded in the Gospels or not, like ever, which I would assume that there were probably times that it was not, where Jesus just kind of, like, flesh was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And it's a panic attack. And so he's preaching, and all of a sudden, he grabs his chest, and everything gets quiet, and he starts to hyperventilate, and he, like, looks. Like, have you ever looked into space? Well, look into space, but also look nervous. He looked very nervous and very scared, which I'm sure that he probably did feel at times because he is flesh as well. And yes, Jesus is God, but he is also flesh. And so I'm sure there were times where he was in fact scared. And this is probably times that he would be. And so he says, Father, save me from this hour, and some other things that I don't remember. And thunder booms. And like, this gave me chills, because this was cool for me to see, because this probably did happen at times where thunder would just happen as Jesus was praying, preaching, talking. It probably did happen. And so someone, I forgot who said it, said, did that sound like an angel's I think it might have been John. Did that sound like an angel's voice saying glorified? Because after Jesus said, save me from this cup, help me with help, or save me from this hour, help me to say, because it's like he was having stupid Apple storage. My goodness, I had to delete some things. I had a big video planned, gone out the window. I'd rather record this stuff. So, all right. Well, Jesus said, "Save me from this hour. Help me speak," because he was having a panic attack. And so, thunder. No, not thunder. Yeah. So he says that this was after thunder. No, this was before thunder. Thunder happened after he was done speaking, I believe. Or it happened before he started speaking. I do not know because I don't remember. And so, he says that, I don't remember exactly what he says, but he was essentially talking about how he will die. He didn't say when, but we know he would die Friday. And so, I forgot one thing about the Pilate scene, in that Caiaphas came over, he got his clothes. Pilate almost touched them, and he yelled out, "No!" because they would be unclean for 7 days. Okay. And then he talked about how this. I can't believe I forgot this. This is such an important scene. Then he talks about how Pilate said after everything was over, we will have 3 executions on Friday, which has a zealot killer. Now, if you know the Gospels, you already know who this is. Now, we have who I've named left cross of Jesus, right cross of Jesus. I literally pointed opposite directions. Which were there when Jesus was crucified. And one of them said, "Father, please don't forgive me," please don't forgive me. Or, "Father, forgive me," or "don't forget me." I think that's what it was. "And let me come with you." And Jesus said, "You will." And the zealot killer is Barabbas. I think I'm saying that right. I think I have the right name. I always mix up his name. I don't know why. But if you don't know who Barabbas is, he was a RAPE. He was a stealer, a killer, the wickedest man out there. And he was set to be executed by Rome on Friday. But after Jesus was arrested, Pilate thought that he was just going to save Jesus right here, because Pilate's never wanted to kill Jesus in real life in the show. He doesn't, care to kill him. And so, Pilate thought that he was being smart, and he would set Jesus go, because there's no way that his people would want him to be killed. And so he said, "I will let you choose who you free and who you kill, Barabbas or Jesus." And the crowd started shouting, "Barabbas, Barabbas, Barabbas," wanting him to be saved. The one that literally was so bad to them, while Jesus, the one who did nothing wrong, was going to be executed. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's real. And so Pilate said, "I don't want anything to do with this," so he washed his hands and he let it happen. It is a sad truth. But the Zealot killer is Barabbas, because they would need some way to make him come, because he probably would have had been arrested for a few weeks, maybe months at this time. And so, um, yeah. So then thunder happens after Jesus stops speaking, and he says, that was just thunder. Which is pretty funny. Like, the Chosen knows how to add comedy where serious is, because even though he didn't say it in a funny way, just saying that was just thunder was pretty fun, because they all looked up like, oh my goodness, is that Angel? It wasn't. It was just thunder. And so they'll go to a shelter. Joanna is in the middle of this before Jesus has the panic attack. She says that her friend has a place which she doesn't like to be in. Also, you can see the sun coming out a little. She doesn't like to be in Jerusalem because of the big crowds, and so they consider. So they all go there, and Jesus goes on a little walk, a little while. So before they leave, and they're all gathering to leave, and they're all going in a crowd, Mary and John, probably the most knowledgeable with everything Jesus was saying at the time, which, I say that, but in the show, Mary is more of an important deal, um, because she wasn't really a part of the gospel. She probably followed him and probably did stuff like this, but it probably wasn't recorded. Yeah. And so they're all like, John, Mary's more knowledgeable, and she actually understands what he was saying, that he's gonna die. She, in her mind, just like us, how we think about it, like, let's put our shoes in that time with our same knowledge of him, he's gonna die. We would be like, he's gonna die. And John, who is knowledgeable but still has some things he needs to work on, he says, what does he mean? And he's thinking in the back of his mind, and it kind of like plays out. He's thinking in the back of his mind, no, he's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. And Mary says he said it many times, and now we're just understanding or something. And so they cut to the house. They all say how nice it is, and Mary's like in her trance, and it's just like it's too much to bear, because she's thinking about how Jesus is about to die. Like, that's scary. I would be lost in my mind if I knew Jesus was gonna die when he was alive, literally walking in front of me. I mean, he is alive, but I mean, like, on the earth. Yeah. I'd be like, oh my goodness, he's gonna die? And so they all say some things. Who is Simon the Zealot, which in the show they call him Z. He's like, oh, I don't really like all this big crowds and all. The Pharisees said that if he don't turn around, it could kill him. And so I'm saying, and Thomas is still not too happy with life, because Rama's been dead for probably a month or two now, and that's just not a good time to get over a lost loved one, especially your future wife. Like, that's just terrible. I don't ever want to think like that. And Nathaniel says, Thomas, are you doubting? Because he's saying some things and like, clear, obvious that you're saying doubting Thomas. And so it cuts, John and Mary are talking, and then it cuts to a night scene. No. It cuts to a gate where Rama's father and all their family, I guess, are shouting, um, false prophecies will be tested by God, and some other things that are in the Bible. It's a verse. And so it's an angry mob. And I'm just laying there thinking they're gonna be the ones to get Jesus arrested. Well, Judas is the one who got Jesus arrested. No, shut up. Twist your mind a little second. Twisting your mind. And I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna be the ones to let Barabbas free. Because they probably are. With how much they hate Jesus, because, he thinks that he killed his daughter. Um, they're probably gonna be the first one to start chanting, Barabbas! Barabbas! And so, um, that dude that was in the cloak and all comes out and he says, like, where are you from and all, whatever. And he says something about Rama's father. Something about, have you seen Jesus? He's gonna get what he deserves, or something. And then it cuts to the night scene. So it's just Jesus walking. He passes by people praying. He just walks. He passes by Ram's father, and they start talking about things and how he brings up the Pharisees don't care for a lost girl in the Galilee, referring to Rama, or dead girl maybe, I don't know. And so Jesus goes to a wedding, and I had already seen this because they had shown this scene on Christmas, like Christmas Day. It was just a scene of the wedding, which Jesus says, "Oh, this is a big crowd or something." And the dude there says, "It's Rudy and something. I don't know. I don't even remember Rudy. Rudy and Ruti. I don't know. A wedding, and he brings them on, and he says, "Are you ever this nice to a stranger?" And he says, "You're not a stranger. You're in our family." Which I have no clue if the dude thought that he literally was a stranger, or that he was related to one of them, the wedding people. And he's dancing, and it's such a thing to see, because Jesus is not thinking about his death. He's not thinking about what he has to go through. He is in the moment. He's having fun. And then, which I can't say I don't like the kid, because he's just a kid, and he was just like, oh my goodness, that's the Messiah. But he says, Hosanna, Hosanna, the son of David. And they all look at him, they stop the music, they all take their hats off, all the guys at least, and they take it off, they bow down. And Jesus says, thank you, no need to do that, you may rise. Or maybe just thank you, you may rise. I think he said no need to do. And so, he says, I'll leave now. The wedding couple ask if they can be blessed by Jesus. He blesses them, and he leaves. Now he goes to probably one of the most intense, and honestly my favorite scene in the whole show, where he goes to a top where he can see down into Jerusalem, and he can see the temple where it's been filled with all the thieves, all the ones that are selling in the temple, and he visibly gets mad. And it's such a powerful scene, because Jesus only gets mad when he sees the people in the temple. That's it. The only time ever in the Bible for Jesus to get mad is just this. And honestly, probably even in his life, was this. And so, he turns around to leave after he's already mad, and he sees that wall again with blood. And Jesus says, which I don't know if this was recorded in the Bible or if they just said this. I would believe that it was recorded in the Bible because it sounds very real. Where he says, Jerusalem, one day you will fall. And I'm just paraphrasing. Like, this is not what he said. He actually said, it could. But I can't remember that. And he says, Jerusalem, one day you will fall because you did not let the King of Kings in or something. I don't know. But something about you did not let me in with open arms or something. I don't really know. Okay. Then it cuts to one of my favorite scenes, but it is such a powerful scene. It is the scene where. Okay, so little context if you are not Christian and you just saw this video, so I click on it. 40 or 30 years, I think it was 30, it might have been 40, I think it's 40 now that I think about it. Years after Jesus died, Jerusalem was invaded by Rome and destroyed. The Jerusalem that is there today is not the Jerusalem of the Old Testament. Not Old and New Testament. The 2,000 year ago Jerusalem, completely different. That's why some spots are like weirdly there, because they had to build on top of Jerusalem because it was destroyed. And so it literally shows Jews running away from Jerusalem and a fire and explosions and Rome soldiers just in there killing and destroying Jerusalem. And the guards of Jerusalem can't stop it. And at one point before it ends, like 5 guards jab into him. Now, obviously, this isn't real. This probably did happen, but for this context, it is not real. So they jab into him, and he's clearly dead. And a Pharisee like runs up the stairs, and I don't know if a soldier stabs him or kicks him down, but he just falls down and he's dead. Like it's crazy. Things are falling, and they take things, and it's such an intense but a real thing, because this did happen. This was a real event that unfortunately did happen. To the people in Jerusalem, unfortunately did happen. And so it cuts to the final scene where he's back at the house. He tells Zebedee, who is James and John's father, to take Mary back to Lazarus for a few days. And he has a plan. And then he kisses her on the forehead as a goodbye, grabs the whip under her bed, and makes it. And that's how it ends. And it just ends with The Chosen. And no credit music, no nothing. Just deep, slow, depressing music. Because this is very intense. So I really like this episode. I'd give it a 9 because there were just so many good points. I obviously am just one person talking to you. I can't tell you exactly everything word for word. This is going to be a great season. I'm going to cry. I felt the intenseness many times, and it made me want to cry, but I didn't. So, yeah. I love The Chosen. And, yeah. So, peace, bye, love each and every single one of you. Yeah. Bye.